So I don't know what was wrong with the last one, but apparently people couldn't hear me through the speaker, and I can't stand Facebook sometimes. So I'm starting it again. Let me see. I gotta bring you back on. I'm about to bring you back on. Hopefully everything is everything.
Yeah, I heard you like it clear that time.
Hopefully everything is everything, and we're gonna get it red night. What's up? Anjanette? You know, I'm trying to get to do. Can you hear me, Anjanette? Last time it wouldn't. A couple people said that my audio wasn't going through. Where is this dude at? Where you at, Pop? I'm telling you.
What the hell's going on here? Where's my invite?
Oh, the old people of America. The old people of America. God damn.
Well,
So I don't know what was wrong with the last one, but
there we go. We on. Well, let me see where I'm at. I gotta hit this right here. This here. All right. There we go.
I promise you we're
I,
gonna get it. Yeah. I promise
Dave,
you we're gonna get it.
hold
I
on,
promise
son.
you.
It's acting up. Hold up. Talk,
Can you
son.
hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Good Lord. Damn. I'm talking about all the
Man,
technical difficulties. Okay. I'm gonna fast forward through all of the initial speech. This is my dad, Lerona first. I'll be Lerona second. Um, and the first question I was gonna ask you, this is obviously about fatherhood and just all the other stuff to do with that. One of the questions that I was gonna ask you was how was it growing up with your dad? Because that's where it started.
okay. Well, that's a good question, son. My dad and I, we had a turbulent relationship, I guess you could call it. And my dad was a hardworking man. He wasn't very educated and found himself with a bunch of children at an early age at a time when it was very difficult, you know what I mean, for a black man, particularly at the
Right.
time. To make a long story short, he made a lot of really bad decisions. He kind of left us early on. Because he was a confused man. My dad was very confused. So our relationship was based on a lot of not having a lot of time to talk. We would spend a lot of time like me, son time. We didn't do a lot of that, my dad. And consequently, a lot of things were missed. You know, a lot of opportunities were missed. And so, my dad and I, my relationship with my father was we suffered quite a bit early on, meaning that he wasn't there. He just wasn't there. Um, I don't want to call my dad like he wasn't a womanizer type guy. That wasn't like my dad. He didn't enjoy the woman he was with, which was my mom initially. He wasn't happy there, so they broke up, and he met another woman, and that didn't work out for him. And consequently, we were left with my mom, who wasn't very stable at all. And so my dad um, found himself in another relationship with another woman. Yeah, I mean, and so it made it difficult for him, man. He raised children and try to make himself happy at the same time, son. To make a long story short, so he did the best he could. Don't blame my dad, man, and I don't want people to take it like I blame my father because I don't. I love him, man. I wish he was still here. Passed some years ago, and through a lot of years, we got a lot. And I did have the opportunity to get to know my dad. Have the opportunity to speak with my dad and find
How
out where
old?
my dad.
Hang on, you just made me think of a different question, Pop. How old were you when you feel like you came to like actually knowing your dad, my grandpa? When you was like, man, I noticed, you know what I'm saying? Like actually knew his heart type.
Yeah, I would say, I came to know my father, man, in my latter 30s. It was unfortunate, but it's the truth. To say that I knew my daddy before then would be a lie. I assumed a lot, and I did a lot of blaming, and I just assumed a lot in my growing up years because we didn't talk. So he left the door open for me to assume a lot, and so unfortunately, my assumptions were all bad, and it just led to a turbulent relationship initially on. But in my latter 30s, I came to know my dad. Unfortunately, which is another story. I wind up in an environment that didn't allow my father and I to get closer.
And what environment is that?
I was incarcerated, that type of
You,
environment.
you criminal. You
Yeah,
criminal.
it's
Okay, so
called
that's coming to my next question now. That was a little brief rundown about you and Pop. Where
right.
were you at in your life? Where were you at in your life when you had me? When you realized that you was gonna have some matter of fact, even when my mama was pregnant with me, type like where was you at in your life and what was your thinking around the whole concept of becoming a dad?
Son, to be totally honest, I was 19. I was about to be 20. I was fresh out of YA, maybe a year out of California Youth Authority. Mind you, I'm in California where I was raised most of my life. And I met your mom in Pittsburgh, California, which you already know. And we hooked up, but your dad, me, at that age, man, come on, man. I didn't have a clue. You know what I mean? I didn't have a clue. She was a lot more focused than I was. I was still caught up in this street life and I mean feeling me. And she told me she was pregnant and I knew I wasn't ready, but she was like, we could do this, whatever, whatever. But your dad was stuck on your dad, man, and I was mad at my dad, and I was going through a whole lot of, emotional stableness, son. That's just being honest. I wasn't ready to be no father. You know what I mean? And then when you came, it was like, wow, I got this huge responsibility. And so I found myself doing, criminal activity, man, which led me, case in point, to prison. And so, yeah, that's what happened.
So I remember, I remember because you are my mom, because mom was just doing her thing free and you was in jail. But I remember getting letters from you when I was a little boy. I'm talking about 7, 8, 9. I don't know. I remember that, and I remember years later you had one of them letters. Remember you showed me one of them letters that I wrote my little scribble when I barely
Years
could
later.
write. It was yeah, man, it was
Yes.
crazy looking at that, right? But I remember having a relationship with you while you was in jail, even though you was in jail more than my mom, right? And what was your perspective? Because I'm thinking now I have babies. I have babies that are like bigger than me now, right? So I'm thinking if I was in jail, if I wasn't there for my babies, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was your mind knowing that you had a little dude out here while they was trying to give you all the time in the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was your mentality like knowing you had a little black boy out there? You knew what I was up against. You knew I was in foster care, group homes. no parents, no family. Like seriously, like how did you stay mentally sane and stable in there doing
What's
12, 13 years
that's a
while your son is out
that's
here?
a yeah, that's a good question. It was very difficult, man, because you got to understand, man. I went in as literally a child, man. I was in my early 20s, man, when I failed, and I went in angry, unfocused. I didn't have a clue about manhood, let alone fatherhood. And I went in as a child, man. But once I got there, I always and for fully had this love for my son, and I wanted the best for you, even when I was in what we call the life. The hell that's supposed to mean, which is a dead end street, but that's another story. Um, yeah, man, I did what I felt. The only thing I knew how to do was write, call you. The feeling is just there's no way to put in words the feeling of having a child, a boy at that. Doesn't matter, boy, girl, but a child is yours that you know is yours, and you're in this environment, institution, prison, and you have this huge love for this human being that you're responsible for, and there's nothing I can do. Write or phone call, send a little money, which is to me nothing because you're my child. So that right there was very difficult for me. It was I can honestly say it was what some of the hardest time in my life, knowing that what you were going through, you had to go through all those years by yourself because your dad was incarcerated. It was some of the hardest time in my life. But because I had this deep love and this responsibility, and I'll always have it for my children, I never
Right?
gave up. I stayed strong. I studied. I took care of my body. I didn't do nothing weird that would embarrass you. I just stayed focused the best way I could, son. And yeah, that was it, man. It was a difficult time. It really was a difficult time because you got to understand, I went in as a child. I had a child as a child, and that's the worst thing we can do as men is start having these children, and we haven't even made it to manhood yet. How you gonna be a man and you're a father and you're not even a man? So, and a lot of us find that situation. So. It's just it was a difficult time, but because of this strong
Right.
love, that's all I can say. To him. I was able to pull it through, man. And God had a plan. I give it to Him. He had a plan,
Yeah.
and I always had this strong love for my children.
Right. A lot of time, like when I think about it, it's a trip because the very first time I remember seeing you was at OSP. And that's the kind of shit that I tell the guys when I go up there to volunteer and stuff. When they be talking because they
Hmm.
all you Pope, your name Lerone and yada yada yada, right? And that's the first time I remember seeing my dad. I was about 12 or 13. I know you remember even better than I do, because I remember the first time I met Grandpa. Actually, I was playing basketball at Parkchester Village, Richmond, California, the end of Richmond. You know what I'm saying? And remember when we went there few years ago with Rome? But
Yes,
I remember seeing Pop, tall, handsome, slender, old dude, get out of lack. He got out of Don's
you're white,
Cadillac.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He just
That's
embraced me.
right.
And about a few months later, I was in Oregon for about
Yeah,
6 months until I got my head toe back off because I was ignorant still, a little badass Cali kid. Told me
that's
up.
how.
But that was the first
That's
time
how.
I remember seeing you was at OSP. And
Yeah,
what's ironic about, and it comes down to the generational curses that we put on ourselves. What's ironic about it is once you got out, I was out here selling dope, doing the most, and we was basically kicking it, right?
yeah,
Pretty much. And it
yeah,
wasn't a year you being out. I went in. Now, how did
yeah.
that affect you as a
Man,
dad, knowing that you know what I'm saying? You just did all this time and you about to come back and you see where your son is at, and you know that you had no control over that. But then once you
I
get
just had
out,
to say
I
this,
go
no,
in.
man.
How did that
The
rock
worst
you?
when you're a father, son, and you are the worst feeling I think you could have is feeling that you failed your children, man. To me, that's the worst feeling in the world is to watch your child behind a bars or in a or incarcerated or even in a police car. To me, I just I felt like a failure. It was a mixture of emotions that I had to deal with when you fail. And landed in jail, man. I felt like a failure. It hurt, because I went through, I say, damn, man, it's like a chip off the old block. Really, man, my son has to go through this hell. And so it was just horrible, man. I prayed, I did everything, man. It cried. You know, I can admit I cried hard, man. I said, not my son, Lord. You know, don't punish him. You know, don't, you know, it was
And
horrible,
you
man. It
know
was
what?
some of the hardest time
And
of
you
my
know
life.
what? You want to know what was the most craziest part about it? It was like, it was like, it was like almost like a second home. How I was welcomed. I'm talking about guards knew you.
Crazy.
All of the brothers knew you. All I'm talking about, I couldn't move
Yeah,
without somebody looking me upside my head. Like I wasn't scared in the first place because this is Oregon. It ain't like it's lions and tigers and shit. But the love, like it was literally love. Like your dad is it? Your name this? Because we carry the same name. It was incredible in a sick way though, right? You don't want to. That's like going
yeah,
to hell and everybody throwing a party for you. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to
right,
hell. Here's Satan. And it was like
right.
it was just crazy. And it was because of the quote unquote legacy that you left there. But when I was
Yeah,
looking at it, I was like, this is a cold cycle. This is a cold cycle. You know what I mean?
it was.
So yeah, that was all bad. So now let's fast forward it a little bit to today type because the funny thing is why you didn't raise me per se, it's a trip how and that's why I like start to understand more about like my ancestral strength because a lot of my mannerisms, even the way I talk, the way I move, the way I think, my attitude, my temperism, that shit is like 100% you. Like some of the stuff,
Yeah,
sometimes we be sitting up there talking, and you'll be talking about something you going through with your woman or something. And I say, "Well, damn it, if blah blah blah," and we'll start cracking up. Like exactly, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
and this is like
Right,
seriously, people don't get it. Like, if anybody who know us, every time I see you, I'm hugging you and kissing you because I'm. We
yep,
just remember the one time at Rome's game, I was like, I love every time we see each other, we hug and kiss because people don't
yep,
see fathers in general do that. So to see two black men hug and kiss. Like this is my dad. You got life all the way messed up. If I ain't gonna hug him, he can be gone
absolutely.
to right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
not gonna miss a moment when I'm with you that I'm not
good
embracing the
deal.
hell out of you. And it's like they'll think that you raised me by yourself since you was two. You know, and
Yeah,
it's just weird that connection that we got. Another thing that is funny, usually when dads is absent from their life, and this is something I did want to talk to the people about. The kid usually has an anger for their dad. You know what I'm saying? Some kind of
yeah,
animosity, like why wasn't you there? Type. And I
yeah,
think the biggest difference for me is because you was gone. You was in prison, and I still got more from you than any of my family who wasn't. Also, also was for a while when you first got out, and I would have to tell you this because one part of the story that we didn't talk about was we had a couple years where it was like a friend stage where you just felt like you couldn't really parent me, and I would you would just we would smoke weed, drink, ride around crazy, riding dirty, and we was just
mhm,
kicking it and really getting to know each other. But it would be so many times where you would like just look at me and be like, "Man, I know this," and I have to tell you, Pop, like I almost have to tell you to shut up, Pop. I ain't tripping on that. I'm not mad at you. I get it.
right,
Are you following me?
right.
Do you remember? I literally had to tell you this for like 2 years, I feel like. And then one day you kind of snapped and was like, all right, I get it. He's serious. He don't really hold no grudge. And I think you couldn't believe that. Like I didn't have no
It
you
was a
or it
form.
was just you feeling so bad. You just felt so
I
bad for
felt
missing on
guilt.
the stuff
I
that you
felt
missed.
guilt. I think any man worth his weight in pennies, son, went through what I went through and what you went through because of me and your mom, whatever, whatever, is gonna have that sense of guilt. Like, how could he not feel some type of way? You know what I
Right, right,
mean?
right,
Yeah, I went to
right.
prison, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I did risky stuff, got caught, whatever, whatever, and wind up stuck. But at the same time, that shouldn't, my decision making affected you in a tremendous way. And because of that, going back to my dadism, I couldn't get over that, man. It was like, how could he not feel some type of way about me when he think about me? All this nigga that, I'm gonna just keep it real. All this nigga
Mhm.
this or this nigga that. But you weren't on
Never,
that. You really wasn't. You
never.
never have been
Not
on
one
that with
time.
your dad. That was my
Because I remember being a little boy getting letters from you. I remember being a
man.
little boy and you sending me money on my birthdays to get a watch. I don't know if you remember, but one year you sent me like $75, and I don't know why, but I had the concept in my head then that this is a lot of money for him in jail. He's not. I don't know how I knew this, right? But you sent
Yeah,
me like $7,500, and I got a nice Gucci watch. A guess. It was a guest watch. It was a Chrome G. I'm talking about it was dope, right? And somebody stole it from like a foster home that I was at. I'm breaking windows. I still got a scar on my hand now, a big old scar on my hand and my thumb from breaking the window about this watch because it was my dad's watch. My dad got that to me. That meant a lot to me, right? That's the stuff that I
Right.
remember. I don't none of that stuff about you being gone. Like I wish you was there to see me hit home runs
Yeah.
in baseball and teach me how to hoop and stuff. But
Absolutely.
okay, okay. But I was never mad at you though. But
Right.
now, today, now I understand because you when I went to the prison last Saturday, it was about Black History Month, and it was like, who your
Yeah.
heroes, right? They was like, who your come Rome and talk about. You got 5 or 7 minutes to talk about who your hero is. And I was sitting up there thinking, and I was like, man, I could talk about any of these great Black people. And I was like, but I
Mhm.
gotta stop at my dad. Legit, I gotta stop at my dad because like the shit that you went
Mhm.
through to still be here in general, just here like literally alive, right? It's like because people
Mhm.
don't know we ain't going all the way deep, right? But like
No.
people don't understand like you legit my hero. I even made a joke like now I don't mean the hero in a sense of like you like super balling and we got property. When your ass go, I'm gonna have to pay somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's for damn sure. But but in terms of being a stand up, straight up dude, you that guy. Real talk. I know you ignorant as hell, but you still that dude.
God,
And
yeah. Well, you know what?
now we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up talking about how did you feel once you seen me having
I,
kids and you having
I want to
grandkids.
ask something else, son. You had asked me something, son, early on, and I want to throw this out here, man, because it's important. I mentioned God, man, and it's the truth, man, because that is my backbone and my strength. You feel me? And you was coming up there in the penitentiary, but there was somebody that made sure that you was up there like on a regular, man, even before my dad,
Auntie,
man. And that's my sis.
Auntie,
You feel me,
Auntie
man?
had me.
My sis,
Hey,
LaShonda Christmas. Y'all gotta feel me, man. Dad, my sis, man. She
always,
Man, she walked,
always.
son. You asked how I did it. I'm talking about, man, I ain't gonna act like I forgot. Because I'm sitting there, I mentioned God because it's Him first, man. But it's when you have family support, there's nothing like that because I'm not used to that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's feel like my sis
Hold
or my
on,
bro.
hold
I
on,
had
Pop.
support, man. I had
Hold
support,
on.
you know what I mean? And
See,
so
see,
I couldn't have did it
I ain't gonna,
without that. So, you know
I
what I
ain't
mean? I
gonna,
just
I
had
ain't
to
gonna
throw
let
that out
you
there because you asked how I did
listen.
it. I didn't just
Nope.
do it. You know what I mean? I had help. Feel me, man? I had help, son. I didn't just do it. Your dad had major,
Listen.
and my sis, man, she rolled a lot of that out with me, man. She did,
I'm
man.
gonna, I'm
Unbelievable
gonna let
type.
you,
So,
Pop.
love her to death.
I'm gonna let you say all of that, but I'm gonna remind you that I remember Auntie coming up in there and dropping off an
Yeah.
eighth. I remember those cannabis visits, so we ain't gonna act like you free
What you
now.
right,
That shit
boy?
don't count no more.
You
That shit
right,
don't count
boy.
no more. But
You
I
talking too
remember.
much. You
Listen, I
talking too
remember.
much.
Listen,
You
I was
quiet,
there.
boy.
Hey, I
Be
was taught by the
quiet.
best. I was
No, I
taught
had
by the
support.
best. That's all I'm
I
saying,
have
man.
major support. I couldn't have did it by myself. I couldn't have. There's
Indeed.
no way I could have did it
Indeed.
alone. No, I couldn't have. I love my
Oh, them
family, man. I
cannabis
love my
visits.
sister dad. I couldn't have did
But
it alone.
fast forward, fast forward to today, me blessing you with grandkids and our relationship as
Wow.
father, son, grandfather, and all that stuff now.
It's like it's like I look back like what we talked about earlier, son, like the turbulent days where things were not so good and we went through so much, man, and it was just like well, some horrible times just for real, for real. But it's like the storm, man, and then when the sun come out, man, that's how I look at today and my life for a while now in terms of my family in general, man, particularly my grandchildren, son. It's like to watch them like most of them are like taller than me now, and I got an opportunity to watch them grow, son. You know what I mean? The stuff I missed a lot with you and my daughter, which is another
Right.
story. I get with them. I got with them, and to hear Papa, I didn't have a lot of that post, gangsta. I didn't been called a whole lot of ignorant, but Papa, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Daddy, Pa, man, them is the best titles in the world, man, can hear. right now to me, man. That's an honor to be called that, man. And so today, man, it's like all what I went through, it was worth it to enjoy what I had today. Shoot, man, it was worth it, man, because it's like to see where you are today. My son is a success story. You're a pillar of your community. You're an asset to your community. You give back where you can. When people mention my son name, and they do a lot, it's always something positive. You say when you mention your dad, well, it makes me feel good. Yeah, I was in a messed up environment, but I made the best out of it. I wasn't gonna do nothing to embarrass you, like I said, and it makes me feel good when you
Yes,
hear
sir.
about your boy. It's something stand upish because I made sure of that. But my boys,
You
you cut
damn
from
right.
the same cloth, and it makes me feel so blessed to see the strength in you today, the way you people respect you today. And you earned that, son. You earned that, man, because you went through a lot. And life is just life is not fair. And who knows that better than us folks? Who knows that better than us?
Listen,
You get mixed up with life if you want to. You'll be in a
I
bottle
know,
or you'll be
I
smoking
know,
something. Huh?
I know that when I feel my strongest is when it's me and all three of my babies. When it's
Yes.
me, Lakaya, Larone, and Sophie, I feel like can't
Yes.
nobody tell me absolutely nothing. When in
Yes.
those moments, and then when I come over here to visit you and I got them, and don't let my sister, we just blew
Oh
over that because
man.
this was a father and son conversation, really. But
Yes.
but but I ain't forgot about my beautiful sister. But that does count. But I don't. We have to we have to backtrack years to go over that. But
Yes.
sis is involved in
Okay.
this too, because that's your baby too, and
Yes,
that's
this
my
has been
sister. And I
amazing.
love
I'm
my
talking
sister.
about the blessings. You talk about the blessings, so you talking about right now. Come on, man. I got a very successful son, daughter. Come on, man. Look at Delilah, man. She's happy, beautiful, successful. You know what I mean? My kids aren't in jail, man. My kids ain't on probation, parole, not knocking nobody, man. It's a blessing. Feel me? It's a blessing that I didn't earn. It's just a blessing, and that's it, man. I never fail to give props to where props is due, man. I thank God today. I do, man. I ain't did nothing so special to deserve the blessings I had today. I accept them, man, and I try to appreciate them. Look at this. This right here is a blessing. This is my son, my namesake. You know what I mean? Not just reaching for himself, but your life is trying to reach out to others. What
And
more
we
could a
got
man
another
ask
one.
for himself?
We got another Larone coming up though. Don't forget about the
Oh, wow,
third.
the third. That's a whole different subject. LeBron the
Right,
third. Oh, he out here
right.
taller than both of them. Skyrocketing up in the air at 12 years of age, almost 6 foot. Blessings.
But
Those are
yeah,
blessings, son.
but Pop, we gonna wrap it up because I don't want to keep it too long because I want people to actually view it. But it was really just to chop it up about our experience in fatherhood and coming up as black fathers. And it was really just that was just about it. And if I come up with another topic that I want to have you on, Pop, we're gonna do it again. What else did I want to say? I wanted to say I love you, old dude, as usual.
Yes,
Seriously,
sir.
like you are my hero, and it'd be nice if you would hit some kind of lick. I mean, they got banks to rob, they got lottery
Well,
tickets, something. Get some loot. Damn.
listen. It's funny that you should mention that. I just got a call this morning, man, about a lick. So you might have to come visit your dad again here shortly, man, because we talking about him and lick. It's rough out here. You hear me, boy? It's rough out here, man. No, we gonna be
We do
fine,
got to
son.
talk
But
about something though.
it's like,
Everybody
it's
else,
like,
I want to say thank y'all for tuning in. I love y'all. I love all y'all, and we'll be at y'all in a minute. In a
and
minute.
love your kids, man. Love your kids. All right, son.
Yes, for real.
We out.
Just be there.